Hey everybody, it's Monte Moore here. Welcome to the disaster zone that is the outer part of the studio garage area where lots of my trade show stuff lives. You can see all sorts of open cabinets and everything behind me. So as I was arranging and finding homes for everything, I realized, wow, I have a lot of stuff and I don't have a lot of conventions coming up this year. I have some art shows scheduled and there'll probably be a few cons here and there, but I thought, hey, why not just do a little impromptu, set out some of the sculptures that I have just one or two left of. And then others I have multiple pieces and some are down to the very last ones that I'll be offering. And so today, as we go through these pieces, if you can just claim what you want. So in the comments section, say claim on that item, describe what the item is. I'll take the, mermaid resin. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining. Meryl, thanks for joining. So if you haven't done, a walkthrough or an auction type item like this before, and you're new to it, because I'll be live, I won't be able to respond to individual messages, but I will after the event. So you can then message me to confirm your PayPal info, your shipping info, things like that if you've claimed an item that's a one of, or if it's something I have multiple of. So it's like a little mini StudioCon. We're here in the garage, and I'm going to start going through a bunch of art. Hey, Kevin G, what's shaking? I appreciate you sharing that out. My man from Inked Marketing, always helping behind the scenes. So that's very cool of you. This is like Garage Con, kind of like hanging in the garage with Monty. Michelle's watching. Right on. See, now Michelle's somebody who puts her money where her mouth is when it comes to, hey, I'm going to be there, I'm going to watch. So some people are like, oh, that's so cool, and then they don't show up. I love it when people say they show up and they're able to. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to go through. I probably have 20, 30 sculptures we're going to offer. Hey, James, thanks for joining. And some prints. I'm not going to go through the big print bin or anything like that today because you can see all of those in the print folder. Hey, Jeff. Oh, Vanessa, what's going on? Josh Main is watching. Excellent. Lots of cool people. Paula's joining us. Right on. This is great. Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the garage. There's also going to be some art that I've never offered before. Some of it's new. Michelle says, I try even if I can't afford it right now. Well, you know me, I'm fine with payment plans. It works out with everybody. I'm more about finding a good home for my art where it'll be enjoyed. So if somebody needs to put something on hold, you want to break something into multiple payments. Hey, I can get that next week, or I can get that farther down the road. Daniel, thanks for joining. Then you can break something into payments and we can work out the details. So just go ahead and message me about that if you need to put something on hold. So there you go. I think we're going to start with sculptures. And Richard's joining all the way from the Netherlands. Right on. Thank you, my man. So I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to give you a quick preview, and then I'm going to put it up in the clamp, and we're going to kind of start going through pieces. Michelle, thank you for saying that. She says I'm awesome to work with. Okay, so I'm just going to get my little iPad live going up here so that I can see comments. I need to make sure I turn off my volume on this thing. Otherwise, you guys are going to get a reverb. Okay, so that's on mute. And okay, so now I can see everyone. Karen says hello. Josh, just getting off a 12-hour shift. Woo! That's a long one, buddy. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around. You don't want to see me. We had a bunch of cool stuff. So these are going to range in, kind of high to low value. We've got bronzes in here. We've got one-offs, pieces in process, goodies, movies, and of course, about 150 originals. There's a bunch of those. I think we'll go through the sculptures first. All right, cool. All right, I'm going to put the old Clamperoonie up here. And then we got a little workspace going. And yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to move. Whoop, let's not knock anything off. Okay, so we've got a nice little display space here. We're going to get going. Okay. I don't know where the tag went on this. This is supposed to say 90. This is the Soul Collector. This is a resin sculpture. Most of these are going to be resin. And these are produced by a company overseas. The company I work with is in Germany. This is called the Soul Collector. This is based on a piece of art that my buddy Ed Hinchy owns. Kind of a Reaper, Guardian Angel, Angel of Death. Very cool piece. I'd say this is probably 12 inches tall. So this is $90. And I have, I think about 5 or 6 of these. So this is a very cool piece based on my art. That one is the Soul Collector, or you can call that Reaper or whatever you want. Okay, the next one up. This is called Devilish. And this is a nice little vamp girl. This is a full color piece. Some of the pieces are more gothic kind of patina in nature. This one's priced at $60. And you can see she's got little skull accents and kind of a demon claw bra. Just grabbing some skulls here. Very kind of purgatory-ish. And fun piece. Great for Halloween. A lot of these pieces are, you know, great Halloween pieces. Or if you just like the year-round gothic decor, beautiful ladies. That sort of thing. So this one is called Devilish. Nice little vamp girl. There's also a little space here for a votive candle. A little piece right there. Let me grab one of the candles real quick so you can kind of see how the little candles kind of fit in there. So if you want to have a candle in there while you display her, you certainly can. And you can see how that fits right in there. So yeah, so that one's 60. So let's put the candle back over here. Okay, next up, we have a couple of these skulls. These turned out really neat. There's 2 different versions and paint jobs on these. This particular one is called Demonistic. And there's another version of this same sort of demon skull. A lot of my skull designs over the years have been copied by other resin makers over the years. This also has a nice little area that if you like the kind of gothic decor, you can set your keys or change, you know, stuff out of your pockets. It's kind of meant to be a nice little display area there. On the skull, this one's called Demonistic. These are $75 each. And here's the wicked brother of it. You can see it's the exact same skull design. It just doesn't have the kind of more over-the-top kind of paint job, runes, almost Darth Maul-esque. So if you like a more traditional gothic skull, I know a lot of fans and friends who are into gaming and things like this. This is a cool thing, you know, hold your dice, have setting on the side of your gaming table, that sort of thing. Or if you just want to scare your, you know, in-laws when they come over, you can, you know, tell them that that's where they can put their car keys. So this one's called Ritualistic and Demonistic. These are also both on the website as well. John Anderson joins us. Hey, John, thanks for joining. So there's another little shot of both of those skulls that are kind of wicked. Set those back over to the side. Okay, we're going to do a couple of dragons now. This is a popular one more with the female dragon collectors because this one is called Maternal Instinct. And as you see down into the glass globes, there are baby dragons contained within. I would say this is about 8 or 9 inches, maybe 10 inches across. And the little dragons that are inside are contained within the ball, the little spheres. This is called Maternal Instinct. This is $90. This is from the same company that's overseas. Their sculptors do a great job. So I know a lot of you have seen me doing some more sculpting recently, and a lot of these pieces are based on exclusive designs and drawings that I did for this series of Gothic pieces that have been carried by Design Toscano and many others over the years. Even Spencer's Gifts carried some of my designs for a while. There was coffee tables and chairs and things like that. So the designs that I've showed you so far, these are all based on my drawings, but I didn't actually sculpt every one of them. What does it say about me that I really like maternal instinct? Vanessa says, I'm listening. She loves that piece. Andy, it means you're a caring person, because, I mean, I call it maternal instinct, but it could be called paternal instinct as well. That could be the male dragon watching over, but I love that piece as well, so it doesn't say anything weird about you at all. It says that you're an awesome dude. Okay, so we have the Fire Drake. No, this isn't Fire Drake. This is called Castle Keeper. It has a little, you can see the little Monte signature here on the back wing. And so this is a nice little 3 votive candle holder piece where the dragon is sitting on top of the parapet, and 3 different places for candles that you can put right there. Again, a nice Gothic display piece. If you're fans of dragons like I am, and you grew up surrounding yourself with all these goodies, then this is a neat piece. This is $135. Couple little holder pieces there. Nice detail on the dragon. Very symmetrical. Just a nice, this design came out pretty good. And I do lots of designs that, trust me, don't get made. I would say about 1/10 of the drawings that I've done for designs for them actually get chosen and get licensed into pieces, and then they're primarily sold in Europe. And these are a solid cold cast resin. That's a candle holder when the power is out, right? But you can still play D&D. Absolutely. So yeah, so that one is the Castle Keeper. And then if you want to go a little destruction, then you go with what I call Castle Crusher. And the Castle Crusher is putting a serious foot hurt on the parapets. And I'd never seen a design like this, so I thought it was kind of neat where the dragon's actually holding the top part of the castle parapet that he's ripped off already, and there's a spot for the candle there. And then the other one, you can see he's just like totally crushing and kicking through it and just putting the major stomp down, and you can see other parts of ruined castle pieces down there, and turned out really neat. I wouldn't still be working with the same company if I didn't think that they did a really nice job on the designs. And I have a pretty traditional, I don't know if it's that unique way of drawing dragon heads. It's from being very influenced, I'm sure, by Jeff Easley and Larry Elmore and Clyde Caldwell and Keith Parkinson, the sort of original 4 horsemen of Dungeons and Dragons. And so that I tried to draw very different heads over the years, and for the most part they come out looking very similar, because that's what I think dragons should look like. I suppose. So that one's called Castle Crusher, and that one is $145. Okay, so let's go. We're going to go through all the resins. Let's do another dragon piece. This one's a little bit smaller. This is another one of the $90 ones. And this is set up to be not only a coin or a key dish, but then you've got 3 little spots here for your candles. And this was just a nice tabletop kind of piece. Again, great for Halloween or other displays. But just if you're a fan of dragons, fun votive candle holder, and still has a functionality. A lot of the pieces that I do for them have at least some small piece of functionality, whether it's a light or a lamp or that sort of thing. So that's why you'll see a lot of those have a little bit of a function. So that is that one. We have one more small one. I have a bunch of these. So I've kind of marked these down a little bit from the website. Certain pieces are, 10, 15, 20% off on the website. Others are the same price if I only have a few of them left. But this little guy here is called Flame of the Drake. Just a nice little single candle holder. But he's got nice detail as he wraps all the way around the candle. So he's marked down to $25. I have a bunch of these. I think I have about 20 of these in stock. So they make a nice set. available on the website, or you can claim one of those by sending me a message. Flame of the Drake. That's just a nice, a lot of these pieces too, if you have friends who are fans of this kind of stuff, it's a good time to pick up gifts, get some Christmas shopping done early, you know. Put it away in the stocking and save it for your significant other. It means you've got great taste, he says. Is it bad that I have most of these? Well, Vanessa, you do have quite the connections or collection. And, you know, it doesn't hurt that you live like 10 miles away. And so it's easy to come by and swing, pick up stuff. All right, we're going to do one of the ones that somebody's going to have to claim if they want it, because there's only one left. I have two in stock, but I'm keeping one for me because I don't know if I'll ever bring in such a big pieces. So this is called Standing United. I designed this right after 9/11 happened. And this character is very reminiscent of a Witchblade-esque kind of design. And then only has the flag in the red, white, and blue. So this is the last one of these that I'm currently going to be able to sell. Like I said, I usually don't do big imports anymore from overseas because it costs a lot of money. The last time I did an importation of a lot of these sculptures was 15, 18 years ago, and it was about 10 grand in just shipping, not even the product, and just shipping to bring in a container load from overseas. So now I'm starting to get down to some of these last pieces, and this is one of my best sellers. So this is called Standing United. Kevin says he got one of those for his wife in memory of her grandmother, and she loves it. I appreciate that, Kevin. So when I was checking out my inventory, I only saw two on the shelf, so I'm keeping one for me. So this last one here is $150. If anybody wants it, they can claim it. That was fast. Why, did somebody claim it? Dibs. Oh, Vanessa, I would have thought you would have had one of those. Okay, so this one is now sold. We're going to put Vanessa's name on that. Vanessa is very much a supporter of the military in the U.S., so we're going to write Vanessa right on there for her. All right. Great. For some reason, my screen, I don't know if I need to change my screen rotation. There we go. For some reason, I wasn't seeing people's claims popping up. Okay. So, Vanessa, that one is yours. Thanks for claiming that. Okay, we're going to go back to another Gothic kind of one. This is particularly a one that's popular for Halloween. This is called Death March. And this was one of the designs based on a game that my buddy Sean and I were working on that was called Legion. And this was when the people you killed in the previous round rose up against you to fight you, and you had to fight them again. So this is called Death March. So David, if you're watching, David Clark, I know you're a big Halloween guy. So these are $60. This is Death March. I do have a bunch of these. So popular for Halloween if you like Gothic skull kind of stuff. Then he's a really fun one to have out during the holidays. Yeah, see, that's cool. He just kind of comes right in your face. She said, Vanessa says, that is the piece I needed to replace. Oh, well, it kind of seems like there was one left, just waiting for you. So that was Death March. That was 60. We've got a couple more candle holders here. We're getting we've gotten through a lot of the sculptures. Both of these candle holders, we'll do them same. So I have these marked at half off. These are $15 each. These are nice, just Gothic candle holders. This one's called Bone and Barb. Because if you were a demon, it looks like a lightsaber handle. But a little spot for your votive candle there on the end. This one's got bones and spines and spires and demon skulls wrapped all the way around it. Very Gothic, kind of Wiccan, pagan kind of a look. And just good old spine design here with claws and barbs. Bone and Barb. Whoop. And this one's called Gothica. The black one is Gothica. So I have those marked down to $15, so you can get like a set for $30. I have a bunch of these in stock. These make great Halloween items. Jay says, what's up? Thanks for joining, Jay. Appreciate it. So those are the 2 candle holders. Okay, we're going to do some couple of Norse warriors here. And these are the last ones of these. So these guys are $50 each. These I call the Norse, the warlords. And I'll give you a little bit closer detail. There were 6 or 7 of these originally in the full set. And I'm down to just kind of onesie twosies of each one left. At least one of these is an open box. So I'll have to do a special box for one of these guys. And so these are just neat. These aren't specific gods per se. These are the warlords. So cool Nordic crusader kinds of looks with the braids and the horns and burnished breastplates and things like that. Much more affordable than the larger ones. Or if you have a small mantle collection and you want a couple of guys looking over you, I have some shelves in my closet. I have a couple of these on the shelves there. So I don't have numbers or names assigned to these, so if somebody wants one of these, just describe which one it is. If it's the one with the, horns and mustache, and this guy could be, braids and beard and horns. This guy would be, crusader guy with chainmail. And those are $50 each. So there you can see by the scale, they're about six inches tall each. And those are cool dudes, and there's some of the last ones that are left of those. I did not find a bunch of those in boxes. I had them for years and years and years, but again, things are selling through. All right, so we're getting down to, these are what I call the mini busts. Now, there's people like Vanessa and a few others that have some of the larger busts. And so currently in stock on the smaller ones, and believe me, these are the smaller ones because I have a bigger one over here. We have the Loki and we have the Thor. And these are based on my designs back from 2001. And so these were so popular overseas as the larger items that other stores... Gus says, do I message here or on Messenger for what we want? You can claim something here, Gus, if there's only a one of, so people know that it's claimed. And then you can message me to add it to your order. So Gus messaged yesterday, and he has one of the, he got one of the last Warrior's Wings that I set aside. But it would be helpful if you do your thing. I don't know why it keeps saying over and over and over that Jay Taylor is watching, but it keeps moving all of my messages. I don't know if Jay, that means you're cutting on and cutting off or what. Vanessa says she loves her Norse vest. You guys have to get these. Yeah, so this one has like a chaos symbol on it. This is kind of a woodsman version of Loki. These are Norse versions. These are not Marvel versions. And then these are the mini busts. So right now I have these at $75, and there's a little spot for my signature on the back. I could put it across there if you wanted me to. These ones aren't limited edition. The larger ones are limited edition. So these are $75, or if you wanted 2 of them, I could do like $60 each if somebody wants both, a Thor and a Loki. I may or may not be able to get. I could probably get a Valkyrie in the set, but I know that Odin is currently unavailable. So. And he was the most popular of the whole series. So there's an example of what the craftsmanship looks like on the Norse god mini busts. $75 or $60 each for 2 of them. So let me set this aside and I'll show you what the bigger brother looks like of one of those. And currently the only one that I have left in stock of these is Loki. And they just, when I ordered the pieces, they just happened to send me a lot more of these than I actually ordered. So most people bought these as sets. And so this is, does this one have, this one has a little broken shoulder on it. So this is kind of my studio one. So this is a spot here for me to sign it on the back. And, these are pretty close to life size. They're probably a little bit smaller than life size. Daniel says, yep, that's a big one. So these are very popular. They sold as sets. A lot of people bought them, they got a discount when they would, buy a set. And, Oftentimes these retailed for more like $250, and you know, people would spend $800 to $1,000 per set. So I have these guys, the last of the Lokis, marked down to $150 plus your shipping. And I know I have at least 2 here in the studio. There might be a few more in my storage. It's a really cool, wicked piece. This Loki, I did later designs of all these characters as well. And actually the Loki in this one turned out much better than the second one and actually outsold the other. So again, this is my version. You know, it's more of a huntsman kind of a look with the claws and mask on his face. Very sort of pagan Wiccan style. Daniel's asking if these are resin based. Yes, the reason why these are very affordable as opposed to the bronzes, which I'm about to show you, is because these are cold cast resin. Vanessa says she has the larger ones and she urges you to get them. They are magnificent. Thank you. Yeah, and Vanessa got some of her sculptures probably 10 years ago, back when I had a bigger selection. Yeah, so these are great pieces. They are cold cast resin. They're very affordable for what you get. And by comparison, in size, this is an actual bronze, and this is $2,000. So $150 for this, $2,000 for this, because this is an actual cast bronze patina that takes 5 artisans and, you know, 4 months worth of work. And I'll explain the process of bronze to you. So I'm going to set Loki aside. There's a couple of those left. Those are $150 plus your shipping. And if somebody wants one, they can claim on the feed. Okay, so we've gone through all of those. So we've got one more Loki. This is actually one of my favorites, and I have a bunch of these because I ordered a bunch because I did a special kind of overseas order on this one. And these are $90, but it's very intricately done. You can even see a classic nod to Chaos Comics there I put on this one. And believe it or not, this design I drew live at Gen Con gaming convention years ago for a fan who would always commission me to draw a custom playmat. And the drawing turned out so cool that I sent a picture of it to the company overseas, Vogler, in Germany, and said, hey, this turned out really wicked. Would you want to turn this into a sculpture design? And they said, wow, we love it. And so this piece, detail-wise, I mean, you can see all the little leather stitching, and they did a great job on the fur and the accents, the facial expression, the real Loki style traditional horns. Just, you know, they didn't cut any corners. All the skulls look great. They didn't like just phone anything in. And they have to create the whole backside of this, because I don't often do what we call a full turnaround where I draw the back, so that it allows their sculptors and designers a bit of input. And so this is Loki on his throne. Normally I sell this one for kind of $150, $200, depending on what's in stock. So I do have a number of these. I think I have 6 or 8. These are marked down to $90. Vanessa says 17 years ago. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I was trying not to make either of us feel old, but thanks for the Valkyrie. Yeah, you basically got them right when they first came in, because these, a lot of, not this sculpture, but the Loki we were just showing a minute ago was designed and produced in 2001. So these sculptures, some of these designs are now 20 years old. This is a much newer one. This one's only like 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old, tops. Okay. So that is it for the resin sculptures. I'm going, or the cast resin sculptures. So now I'm going to show you a couple of bronzes. Now, these I primarily sell more at my fine art shows. So this is based on the award-winning Sensatiable drawing that I did many years ago, which landed me a job with Playboy, and also is one of my best-selling pieces ever. Now, this is an actual cast bronze with a very artistic patina, and a patina is a combination of coloration that's applied often with acrylics and a blowtorch and chemicals. And so you get some of these kind of natural looks and dyes and things. So the first couple of these have already sold. I sold a couple of the Sunkissed. So again, this process to cast a bronze takes about 3 to 4 months. And it goes through 5 different, from once a sculptor, once it has to go to a mold maker, then the mold maker makes a wax of it that then can get melted out. Then it has to go to the foundry, and then it gets cast in multiple pieces. Then, believe it or not, this has to be welded back together by the chase artist. And when the chase artist is done, then it goes to the patina artist. So outside of the hands of the sculptor or designer, there is 5 other artists. And that's one of the reasons why bronzes cost so much. This is another bronze. This is one of my pieces from my wildlife collection. Now this one looks very, very similar to the natural state of the clay. So this one's 600. This is called Peerless. And I liked the look of the clay. I've already sold a couple of these that are in different patinas, different colorations. But I thought I would do one for myself in case either I wanted to leave it as a clay, or if I wanted to do the patina myself. And so you can see the back of this has a little place where it hangs. It can go right on a wall, or I can mount it on a stone or a piece of marble. I don't know if Josh Main is watching, but, you know, here in Colorado, we have the Colorado State Rams and we have the Colorado University Buffaloes. And my brother raises bison, which is also buffalo. And so anyway, because I do a lot of fine art shows too, I wanted to do both a bison and a ram. So that's an example of an actual bronze. It's got some real weight to it. Those are the 2 bronzes that I have here. And then I'm going to show you, these are some of the much more expensive ones because they have to get hand finished by me and they take several weeks, if not months. So what you're seeing here is a larger version of the Sensatiable that I showed you. And if a lot of you are watching have seen this piece come together on Facebook, and I'm adding delicate layers of clay and things like that, and I'm smoothing out areas of the lines where, whoop, she's losing her seashells. Whoop, look at there. So the seashells were created separately with clay, and I just have some eraser holding them on because at the art show, I thought I would offer her with and without seashells. So anyway, this is a 3D resin printed sculpture, but it's almost like a model kit. See, there's these lines down here on the bottom, and it's a gray color. So this piece started out as 12 or 15 different pieces, and then it has to be put together in one piece. And so it takes literally dozens and dozens of hours of hand finish work. And you can see I've got little pieces of clay and some sanding going on in here. And so when this piece is done, it will be considered a one-of-a-kind sculpture, even though it's not bronze. So these pieces here and the other horse I'm about to show you are $4,500 each. And that's because of the amount of time it takes to finish and that they're one of a kind. But if these pieces were cast in bronze, you'd probably be looking at probably between $8,000 and $12,000. So this is a workhorse. This is my steampunk horse. And this is the very first of his kind. That's a 2-to-1 enlargement of the original, which was only 9 inches tall. And that's one of the things that the procedure of 3D printing allows us to do. Now, if you look closely, you'll see a new layer of top gears actually added to the surface of the horse. So one of the things that makes this unique is there's little things that I'll add, like the little bridle with the kind of silver pieces coming around his chin, and then additional gears all the way around it. And then this entire thing is hand painted by me, which took probably kind of close to a week when I was at my art show working on it. And so it doesn't have the weight of bronze, but it also doesn't have the price of bronze. But what you get is still a very stunning, one-of-a-kind sculpture. And the idea behind Workhorse for me is that all of these gears and everything have to work in unison to create work and to get things done. And in the original sculpture, these pieces here on the top, these are pieces off my airbrush. These are old airbrush parts. These are watch pins that hold your watch face on. Little gears, little keys, things that I find and put in my little junk drawer. There's just a lot of detail to it. I think it turned out quite stunning. This is probably one of the favorite 3D things I've ever created. Andy, is your brother or father? Because he used to be saying bison. Oh, there you go. Bison joke. I like it. Yes, both my brother and my father raised bison. He says I live for dad jokes. So that's Workhorse. I have another one here in the studio that's already been printed that hasn't been finished out like this one yet. And I'm probably going to finish the second one in more of a, we'll call it the Terminator sort of look, where it's going to be more metals and less browns. And it'll be steels and grays and chromes and things like that. And it actually faces the other way, so it's almost a bookended piece. So that is it for the sculptures. You can see more on the store. There's a few things on the store. I need to update a few of them and remove some of the ones that are there on the store. So before you make any purchases, just send me a message and ask about something. So that's it for all the sculptures that I got out. And now we're going to move to, Vanessa wants to know how much. Vanessa, can you clarify for me for which piece you're talking about? The two big sculptures are currently priced at $4,500. Of course, you also have, I think, credit with me. Russell says hello. Vanessa, just clarify which one you're asking about how much on. David Brandia is joining. So this is End of the Road. And there's probably a lot of people who don't know that I wrote and produced a feature film that starred Doug Jones, who was the Academy Award-winning actor in Shape of Water. He was in Legion. He was in Pan's Labyrinth and just countless movies, The Watch. And this film also has Robert Picardo and Michael Dorn from Star Trek. Now, on Discovery Star Trek, Doug Jones is one of the bridge officers on Discovery. Vanessa, yeah, that Workhorse is currently priced at $4,500. I had it priced at the art show as high as $6,500. If that's something you're interested in, then just let me know and we can work out details or payments, that sort of thing. Or you could have the other one custom painted if you wanted. Oh, and there's a real bank breaker of Workhorse that's coming from overseas, but it's going to be 3 feet tall. So I think that one's going to probably be a real bank breaker. Anyway, back to, he was the captain of Discovery. Oh, there you go. So this is End of the Road. In 2010, I wrote and produced this film. I was also one of the executive producers. I was the art director. We filmed this movie on the ranch that I grew up on. So this movie memorializes the surrounding ranch house and the lodge that my family had built on the property that was a hunting and fishing lodge. This movie was made at a time when DVD was dying a quick death due to streaming, but streaming had not caught up yet. So we did not sell the DVD rights, but we did sell streaming rights on iTunes and Amazon. But they released it as a horror film. And it's really not a horror film. It's much more of a thriller comedy. But we did get into 6 film festivals. You can see some film festival wins down in here. Some of the film festivals were local and some of them were national, like the one in Vegas. And we won 5 awards, including some best cinematography, best film. So it's a movie that we didn't make a bunch of money on because we didn't sell the DVD rights, which I don't know if I should have or not, or whether that was a good thing that I didn't. Probably doesn't matter at this point. However, I did have 300 copies of the film made to send to film festivals. And so, because you have to pay for your own movies and stuff. So this movie will work on any DVD or Blu-ray player. And there's also 2 or 3 cameos. There's 3 times that technically I appear in the film, but you can only see me in 2. And I wrote and produced this film. So I have a bunch of these available. I have a nice little stack over here of probably 40 or 50 copies left of End of the Road, something I'm very proud of, that a lot of people have enjoyed. We got some nice reviews. It's an independently made film that we made for well under $100,000. But it doesn't look like we made it for $100,000, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It has some nice twists and turns. So if anybody has watched this film and they want to tell other people, like Eva Jarkovic, who's Bleeding Cool News, we got some good write-ups on stuff. So the inspiration for the opening of Blood and Bullets to bring out this film. There we go. Vanessa says she needs End of the Road as well too, please. Absolutely. Well, we'll set one of those aside for Vanessa. We'll put one over there for her. Yeah, End of the Road is it's a fun watch. It should not have been marketed as a horror film, and the reason why they changed the title to 1, 2, 3 Scream is because in streaming it would have come up first before A, B, C, D, because numbers come up first. Kevin says he'll take an End of the Road as well. Thank you. Appreciate that, Kevin. Okay. We're going to do 2 prints that are 2 or 3 prints that are canvas prints. And then we're going to get to some original art. So these were some little prototypes that I had made. I have 2 of these available of the same image. This is called Majesty. But what I did with this particular piece is I printed it in a brown sepia tone, and I added a little unicorn horn. So this is kind of for like the young girls out there, or that's generally people who like unicorns. So these are little tabletop standees. They can just stand just like this. They're 20 bucks. I never mass marketed these. And so these are the only 2 that are made. So numbers 1 and 2. These were in an art gallery up in Breckenridge for a while. And then I also have one of the Friend in the Darkness. This is the Bernie Wrightson tribute. John says he'll take an End of the Road. Right on. Those are $15. $15 on End of the Road, if you want one of those. Paula, let me know what it is you would like to get. If you want one of the small Majesty prints, or if you are interested in an End of the Road. Paula Scarbell Taylor. This is a Friend in the Darkness. This is the Bernie Wrightson tribute. This is also one of the little standee prints that was a prototype. Vanessa says she'll take one of the horses, so let me set that aside in your little stash over here. So there's 1 horse left, there's 1 Friend in the Darkness, and then there's 1 of the Doombringer. I also called this piece the Herald of Eternal Night. Friend in the Darkness. Okay, Kevin will take Friend in the Darkness, so we'll put a note on that. I had a feeling that Kevin might snatch that up. Oh, sorry. You guys missed out. I only had 1 of these, and that one went to Kevin. You got to be quick. Sorry, guys. There is 1 left of the Reaper. Doombringer. Phil Kearns will take the Doombringer. I do have 1 bigger that I'm about to show of Doombringer. So this is going to be Phil Kearns. Okay, and these are 20 each. Kevin's was 20. And Paula says she'll take the other horse. Okay, right on. Thank you, Paula. So this is Paula Taylor. Okay, so we'll set those aside. Those went real quick. That's great. Okay, Steph's watching, Karen, John. All right, a couple of more prints. This is another 1 of 1. We're going to do this one. Normally this size is $250. So we're going to do this one for $100. It is the Doombringer in the straight black and white. It's a gallery wrapped canvas. It hangs just right on the wall. It's got a little dust on it. Got maybe a little teeny small scuff mark right there in the front. But otherwise, it's in really good condition. So we're going to do this one for $100. Instead of normally $250 is what I sell the 18 by 24 gallery wraps. So if somebody wants this Doombringer, also known as Herald of Eternal Night, right now this would be marked as an artist proof because I only had one of these made when they had a sale going on. So $100 for this guy. It's a nice size, hangs right on the wall. No need for framing. $100 on that one. If somebody wants one of those, we'll set that aside. And then I just have one other of the gallery wrapped prints. And this one's going to be $150. And this is a much larger. This is a Secret Unlocked. Very kind of Harry Potter-esque on this particular piece. This is probably a 24 by 36. It's a nice gallery wrapped canvas of this fantasy art of mine. Anybody who's a fan of, fantasy writing and Harry Potter, Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of thing, will enjoy this particular piece. This is a nice 24 by 36 canvas. There was 2 of these made. One's down in Arizona in a gallery at the moment. And so this piece will be 1 of 2 artist proof. Kevin says, nice piece. So this one's going to be $150 if somebody wants that one. Normally this size now, for me, usually if it's a fine art, like if it's one of my stagecoaches, they typically sell for around $400 for that size. Richard would ask to see the Doombringer again. Yes. So this is an 18 by 24. It actually looks a little bigger than 18 by 24. And so this is a gallery wrap canvas. This is a 1 of 1 artist proof. And has just there's just a slight scuff in the front. It just changed to the sheen, but not a mark in actually the art. This is ready to hang. It's already got hangers on the back. This was in a gallery up in Breckenridge for a while. And this one's offered at $100. Richard will take the Doombringer. So this one will be marked as an AP for you, Richard. And so Richard Kaczynski. And you can follow up with me on that afterwards. My screen's moving, so hard for me to write everything down. This is an AP, and this is 100. Okay. Kevin says, nice clay. Yeah, almost all those prints got claimed. Okay. Now we're getting into the meat. We're 33 minutes in, and we've got a couple hundred originals here. Richard, yes, it will be signed, and I'll send an artist a COA with it as well that'll say that it's an artist proof. So thank you for that. So after we're done, you can just send me a message or I'll follow up with you. Okay, originals. There's a lot of them. And some of them are going to have never before been offered. So we're going to start with the less expensive, and we're going to go up from there. So I may bring the camera a little bit closer on this one so you guys can see it a little bit better. So these are all the portfolios that I take to shows. And I'm going to go throw the light switch here so we get less glare. So hold on just a moment. Okay. So, yep, there we go. That's going to be better. Okay, so we're going to bring the camera down a bit here so that we can see better. Okay, so this is like being at a convention. There's a lot of stuff in here that some of it I have on Facebook, some of it I have on my website. But normally if I go to a show and I'm set up at a table, these are the originals that I have with me. And so we're going to do a walkthrough, and now you guys can see and claim original art. And I'll tell you what each thing is and what it was, how it's drawn, and what it was for. All right, so the very first one here, this is called Rise to Power. This is an original that was a test drawing for Zenescope, and it worked, and I started doing some covers and stuff for them. So in this particular drawing, I was going for a style and a look that was a little bit more of a J. Scott Campbell, Mark Brooks, you know, kind of influence on how the figures and the faces were drawn, showing that I can work in a variety of styles. So this is not a Zenescope character. All the pieces in here are around 10 by 14, 10 by 11 by 17, kind of all in that range. So this is all original pencil. This particular piece at the moment is unpublished because it's not a specific character thing. It was a tryout piece. So you can see the prices up here in the corner. This is $800 for this original piece. This Terminator piece on the left is actually on hold for David Hernandez, so that piece is not for sale. That was the prelim for my Terminator versus Transformers cover, so that one is sold. This is a $45 sketch. It's from a motorcycle paint job tank. This was going to be for a rear fender of a motorcycle. So from 2004 to about 2015, I painted 100 to 200 motorcycles for collectors, buyers, and builders. So some of the sketches in here, very inexpensive. That one was $45. This sketch here we'll call 30 bucks. This is winged skull. You can see that this had the shape of a motorcycle tank, right? So a tank tapers back like this. It's wider at the front. So this was designed to go on the side of a tank. So this would be 30 bucks. This was drawn in 07. Just a little wicked thing. You could frame it up though, put it in your garage. We'll call that 30 bucks, winged skull. Motorcycle design. All right, we got some Doctor Who here. Some pieces have sold, some haven't. This is a nice drawing of the Doctor. So at the Motor City Con, I did some of the official art for them. And then these pieces became a print that the actual actors signed for their fans. And so I did, I think, 6 different pieces. And you can see whatever piece was here already sold. A couple of the pieces have sold. I know that the Walshes are some Doctor Who fans. So that's a piece of the Doctor. That one there already sold. This one here already sold. This was another one of the compatriots that followed along. I believe her name was Martha, who was the companion, not compatriot, companion. A couple different seasons. So I did different portraits and figure pieces for that. This is all pencil. Something Karen says they have 2. They do have 2. Well, if you'd like to add to the collection, you know, I'm willing to wheel and deal. You can send me a message and make me an offer. So both of these are very nice portraits of this companion character. And yeah, looks like of those pieces, of the 6 pieces I did, there's 3 left. There's one of the Doctor and then the 2 of her. So yeah, very nice drawings. This is an interesting piece. This was actually done for Comcast. Yes, that Comcast. And so sometimes illustrators such as myself get hired to do interior promotional type art. You can see coloration wise that this Transformer looking dude goes with their colors and that sort of thing. And so this was an interior illustration that was used for meetings and welcoming people and urging them to transform their business, transform how they do business to people. And so they commissioned me to do this nice piece of art. So this original is priced at $600. This is an actual interior used piece of art for Comcast. Commercial illustration. from me. And over here we have some dragons. And these are priced at 100 each for these dragon drawings. I'll go through a couple of the dragons. Now, the thing about the dragon drawings over here, too, is some of these are things that people might want to have tattoos of. And so if you get one of the pieces of dragon art, you get the rights and permission to have it as a tattoo. Now, I realize somebody can just have a tattoo made of whatever they want, but you actually get the original art. You can take it to your tattoo artist, and you can have them tattoo and ink it. So you can see this one was a kind of a prelim of what became this piece over here. It's a nice dragon sketch design. And there was a series of pieces that I did for a fantasy gaming customer that needed some dragon graphics. This one has 4 different drawings on it. And so you could select which ones you like best. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the dragon designs. And then you can have your own Monte Moore one-of-a-kind tattoo, and you can own the art that goes with it as well. There's one more down in here that's more of a warrior, demon, skeleton kind of design. Just kind of a wicked kind of look. So this one would be number 9. So apparently I've sold some of the other in-between ones since then. So those are all kind of graphics, drawings, and ink, 100 each, and you can have a tattoo made if you want. Have your own Monte Moore tattoo. This one over here is just a piece of concept art. Believe it or not, it was for Perry Mason. They were pitching a Perry Mason idea, and they wanted the character to look like Franco. Forgot his first name. James Franco. That particular idea never went anywhere, and so I actually made the guy look a little bit more like a vampire. So anyway, just a little head torso sketch there. It's 85 bucks. All right, this is one of the few remaining pinups that I have on the left. And I did 4 different pencil designs over the years for sculptures that were going to be the 4 seasons, and each one was a beautiful pinup girl. So there was a winter, spring, summer, and fall. And so this particular piece on the left, which is a very nice pinup drawing, is called the After School Fall Special. And this was drawn in 2003. It's nearly 20 years old. And you can see she's a beautiful schoolgirl, and the wind is blowing, and her books say sex education on it. So that one's priced at $5.50. That's one of the few pinup drawings I have left because the pinups always sell the quickest. This on the right, yes, apparently I drew me as the character, 20 years ago. This was drawn in the late 90s and was for a gaming book called Alternity. Obviously, I made myself look like I had, a ponytail and giant arms, and I'm being attacked by killer vines. So in this particular illustration, what I was illustrating was they would say, the monster is killer vines, and you need to have a character being attacked. And since it didn't matter what the character was, I was like, well, I'm going to draw me. So I did. You can see it as like, cool facial hair and a little bit of a tattoo and stuff like that. So that's 65 bucks for Monty as alternative sci-fi character. Okay. Here's a couple more of the dragon designs. These are 100 each. This is where I wondered where the other ones went. I didn't think I sold all those middle ones. I particularly like the sort of infinity dragon here with the infinity shape with the 8. But also this skull face here where it's turning into this very kind of Ghost Rider-esque. It's also, I don't know, it's kind of badass. So my background, my degree is in graphic design and illustration. And so that's where some of these design elements come from. And a couple of cool dragons down here on the bottom. Simple, but would make really cool kinds of designs. So those are more of the tattoo designs. Not sure why they're on separate pages. Apparently that's just where I had a spot in my book. All right. This one over here on the right is from the now, I don't know, do we call it defunct, the Denver Comic-Con? This was back when it was literally Denver Comic Con, before it became Pop Culture Con, and before it was then sold. Mark says, I'll get with you on that one of you and the vines. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to pull that one aside for Mark Woodward. You can add that to your tally. We'll set that aside over here. All right, so we're going to go back to Denver Comic Con. So the Denver Comic Con, which grew quickly to be the #5 biggest convention in the country, had their own sort of characters that were kind of cosplay, and this guy here in the middle is Captain Colorado. Now, one of the unique parts about this is I don't often color other people's work, but this particular piece right here is drawn by Tom Grummett. And Tom Grummett was one of the sort of famous artists who drew the death of Superman, among many, many other well-known things over the course of 20 years. So when he was at the show, I had Tom sign that, and you can see our names are over here when we did the art in 2016. Now, this show doesn't exist anymore because they recently sold off the show to Fan Expo. So now there'll be a Fan Expo in Denver, and Denver Comic Con is no more. So I have most of the only original art that was ever created for the Denver Pop Culture Con. On the Dragon original art is 100 for... I was doing 100 per design, and you get the original art and have as a tattoo, Michelle, but you're a longtime supporter. So if there's one of those that you like, just send me a message, or if you want me to put it on hold, and we'll work out the details. I'm not worried. If you see something you like, you just let me know. So anyway, there's original art. This was the cover and the bag, and that's signed by Tom Grummett. Now, these pieces are pretty rare, too, because these are the only official art that I have available that's approved by DC Comics. And what they did is they commissioned me, the convention did, to create some art of their characters. Then we put these together in a giant backdrop that looked like a police lineup. And then kids and attendees and cosplayers could then come and have their picture taken in front of this police lineup. And so you had Gorilla Grodd and, God, her name's escaping me at the moment, Peekaboo. These are the only times I've ever illustrated these characters, and these are original full-color illustrations. They were made in 2015, and they had to be run by DC Comics and approved for usage at the convention. And so even though these were not published in a comic book, they are approved pieces of DC Comics art. And there's 3 of the, I think, 4 or 5 that I did total. I think the Trickster art sold, and I think there was one other. So you have Mirror Master. And these are 400 and 400 on these 2. And it looks like Mirror Master is 300, maybe because he was a little simpler to illustrate. So those are nice full color illustrations for really a few $100. Richard says you have to upload the video to YouTube after this, or just this video even. The backstories are so cool. Yeah, I definitely will, for sure. Kevin will help me facilitate that. Yeah, so you have Mirror Master there. This is a white deer in a snowstorm. No, really, that's nothing. This was some concept art, $150. This is a Cleopatra drawn in a more comic book kind of style. This was for a game that we were working on that we were going to publish called Maiden's Gauntlet, and you would play female characters from throughout history. And so you can see she had an Ankh. This was either Isis or Cleopatra. This might have been Isis, actually. And drawn in a more comic book kind of style. So just a nice unpublished pinup girl illustration by me. $150 for her. Okay, back to some inexpensive sketches. You guys saw some of the dragon sculptures that were here. That black page, there should not be a mummy there. Richard, he's got a mummy fetish. Well, you know, she is Egyptian. You could have her. I would, a player, it's sad it was not made into a game. Yeah, it's true. But gaming industry is pretty hard, so I'm just focusing on comics now. Anyway, this is a concept for a dragon cell phone holder for like a smartphone. So you can see where I sort of indicated where the phone would go and that it would sort of clasp around it. So earlier I told you some of these drawings that I do are not turned into actual pieces. So this is a fun dragon drawing of a dragon, you know, design, and they're inexpensive. This one's 85 bucks. This one's 85 bucks. This is another one of the dragons on top of the little castle kind of a deal. Very similar to the kind of castle keeper piece that we saw earlier. So these are dragon concept pieces. Now this one was made into a piece. I don't have any in stock anymore. It was called Night Shadows. And this was, the dragon's wings were actually the lampshade. And so you could see the little castle pieces down below. And then there was a sphere. And the dragon was landing on this sphere. It was an absolutely awesome design when it was done. The couple that I had, I definitely sold whenever I had them at shows. I'm pretty sure I don't have any of those in storage. If I find one of the Night Shadows, I will let people know. Andy, he said he would have played it. It was a great game design too. This is a published back cover concept sketch for an RPG book that was on kind of puzzles and different things to solve. And so this was the front cover on this side, and you had the wizard holding up the crystal ball, and then to indicate that players could play characters from throughout time, you had a sci-fi, a modern day assassin, and an old fantasy girl. Richard says, I'll take the Castle Dragon. I think it was 85. Yes, let me go back real quick. You want this one, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. 85, yes. Richard, I will put that with your other piece right over here. And those set aside for you. That was 85. Michelle says she would love a night shadow lamp. I will try to look and see what I have. I didn't see one when I was going through all of this stuff. But if I find one, it's yours. A Dragon Smart Watch charger base would be cool. Yeah, these were all done well before a smart charger was ever invented. So anyway, this the guy who I used as the basis for the wizard over here is my older brother Rex. And I kind of made him like a cleric, and he's holding up the crystal ball. So this is $100 for the concept art for this book. And I don't know if you might be able to find the book on eBay. It was published. It was printed. We did change the back cover, though. It didn't have the wizard on the back, but this is what the front cover looked like. Okay, we got another pinup girl over here on the left. She's 200. This was a piece that I then painted on a motorcycle, like a $100,000 chopper that was for a construction company. And so this is just a, nice kind of beautiful Americana hard hat wearing girl. I think up here on her hat, it says load me up. And she's got, tool time, belt and everything like that. Nicely rendered out. $200 for this sketch. And over here on the right, we have one of the few pieces of original art that I've offered up from the game Boneyard. And Boneyard was a boutique-sized game that we did that was all tattoo, biker-style art. So if you're into, the Harley lifestyle, the biker, gambling, stuff like that, this piece is priced at $225. And this is actually an ink piece, one of the few inks that's in here. John says, he fell off for a minute. He's going to say, man, this guy looks so familiar. Yeah, so $225 on, I think this one's called Roll the Bones. Kind of almost like the bike is, like in a rodeo, like almost like a bucking horse would be. This is one of the few other pieces done in that kind of style. This one's $175. But this is like a pinup girl silhouette, like a race day kind of thing with the checkered flag. And you can see she's got a little bow in her hair. This is a silhouette graphic, just a nice little clean, fun piece, kind of a almost garage style art. That one's $175. And then over here, we have this crazy off the hook dragon design that was painted 4 to 5 feet in size, and I painted this on the hood of a Jeep. And there was some reference art that was provided by the customer on the kind of style and art and positioning. So, you know, you've got like the female peeking out behind, very, you know, Frazetta death dealer kind of esque. And then you've got this warriored dragon breathing flames. And then the flames went on from the hood down onto the fenders of the Jeep. And the whole thing was painted in blacks and silvers and purples. So that's $75 for cool dragon drawing. Monty, any Lovecraft inspired work? Not particularly. I love steampunk in general, and there's a lot of Lovecraftian kind of stuff in the steampunk world. Obviously comes from a lot of that. So, you know, armored dragons and things like that. But I've never actually read any of Lovecraft's work specifically. This is a couple of small sketches. These are like $30. This one over here on the left is a Celtic knotwork inspired dragon skull that was to be designed as a curio box. So $30 for the little dragon skull. And then over here, a dragon claw holding a spinal design candle holder. So those would be $30 each for either of those. More dragon concepts. You had to ask after seeing the horse. Yeah, I love steampunk stuff. Here's another pretty rare drawing. Now, believe it or not, this one here on the left was drawn for Harley Davidson. And is one of the, I think it's actually I did a couple of sketches for them. And at the time, they were thinking of doing a series of pub signs. They were going to be round pub signs, and they wanted 1940 style art. The problem is this was drawn in like 06. And they weren't really doing the pinup girls until like 2010 or 11. And so I was kind of ahead of the curve. So this is a really nice 40s style pinup girl. Looks real kind of retro, kind of curvy, but a nice drawing. It's $300. And this is called Nighttime. And that was actually drawn for, I got paid by Harley Davidson. I should have kept a copy of the check. Like, wow, I got money from Harley Davidson. This was a back fender design of a giant scorpion. And this was for a military guy. He had me paint this on his rear fender. And then here in the middle of the claw was his battalion, which I believe was the Big Red One. And so the claw here was holding the patch for the Big Red One. And so this was painted on a giant 300 series rear tire fat fender chopper that was like a Big Bear or a Swift or something like that. So this is just a crazy illustration of a giant scorpion, essentially. And that's $60. $60 on the giant scorpion. Getting towards the back of this book. This is they did actually produce a series of dragon timers. So on this one, I only drew the bottom half of where these kind of cool, snarky looking little dragonettes are at the bottom. And then in the actual design, I then flipped them and there was 4 on each side. And so that little sketch is $40 for the dragon sand timer. They did produce some of those, but I didn't get very many of them. So I sold the 1 or 2 I had, and I kept 1 or 2 for myself, but I don't have any more available. These are both dragon sand timer designs, where the timer itself would just flip on like a spire, or it just sat on a base and you just flipped it yourself. So these are both $40. You got one on the left that had some little spikes and stuff on it, and this one here where he's a little more freestanding. Dragon sand timer sketches, $40. And this is kind of looks like a page out of my sketchbook. So this is $150 for the whole page, but there's actually 4 drawings on it. So there's 2 figure drawings, and there's kind of more of a pretty, kind of bow-headed girl. This was when I was trying to work in a little bit more comic style, very J. Scott Campbell style influenced. And then crazy vamp girl down here on the bottom with some sharp teeth. She's kind of screaming, and she's got kind of Western Cross for earrings or onks or something. So that's $150 for the whole page. There's four drawings on that page. Looks like I took it right out of one of my sketchbooks. This is a piece I'm not sure I want to sell. I like this piece. This is called There's a New Sheriff in Town. It's 800 and it's a full painting, and it's the classic pose of the outlaw Josie Wales. And but instead of that figure, I painted, this skeleton with the American flag across his face. And this symbol here was the symbol for my company called Maverick Custom Paint when I was doing a lot of custom motorcycles. So this was like a tribal mask kind of design. So for over a decade, this was on the back of my trailer for 10, 12 years as part of the wrap. And so this piece has a lot of sentimental value to me that was created just for me and not one of my clients. So this piece is priced at $800, and it's New Sheriff in Town. Kind of Eddie from Iron Maiden. Absolutely. There's a big influence there in that kind of style mixed with Western. Man, he needs a military game. Yeah. So anyway, I love that piece. So over here on the left, we have a piece of concept art well, it wasn't concept art. It was for a full color that was going to be for Mile High Comics. And for some reason, the publisher dropped the ball. And this was for a title called Zomben. And it was Zomben #1. And you can see the main character here. And there's like these SWAT guys, and there's Cthulhu happening in the background. But if you look at his reflection down below, that's his zombie self. And instead of a bucket just empty, there's the zombie hands and stuff. So that's an inked illustration for the cover of Zomben #1. I have it priced at $600, but you can make me an offer. That was from 2017, but the publisher forgot to actually use the cover. And so I don't think it was ever published. And I have the color version of that as well. This is kind of a really cool warrior illustration. The mask is kind of inspired from the general guy in the movie Willow. This was drawn in 2003, I think. Anyway, this was for one of the stories that I'm working on. That's called Death Knight, that may or may not show up in my new anthology series. This was, one of the bad guy characters. So, cool illustration. Then this is something a little more whimsical. A lot of people know that my family was in the meat and cattle business for a long time. And you've probably heard the term Wagyu or Kobe beef. Well, our family was one of the first families to bring some of those animals, and we had from overseas to the U.S. So now they breed Wagyu all over the country. So it's not, people are like, oh my God, it's from Japan or whatever. You know what? It's probably raised in Kansas now because there's many, many producers in the country that have Wagyu in their genetics now. So anyway, dig in the Western piece, grab a bullet and bullets. Yes, absolutely. So one of the reasons to obviously do this today too is if people have questions about blood and bullets, if you haven't backed it yet, we still have 2 weeks left, and I'll talk about that at the end of the campaign. However, this last little illustration, this is, yes, a samurai bull, a Japanese bull, and this was a piece of promo art when we were first bringing Wagyu into the country, which is where Kobe beef comes from. So that is book #1 of 5 books. Some have more, some have less. Okay, we're going to do a new book here. Now, most of the art that is in this book has never been offered in 20 years. I created most of the art in here around the 02 to 04 kind of time frame. And for people who are familiar with the game that was also an art book called Wench, Mind's Eye Games was a company that I co-owned with my buddy Sean. And we've decided at the moment that we're not going to publish any more games. The gaming industry and trying to get distribution was just, it was just too much of a pain in the ass, quite honestly. Mainly because of companies like Diamond, who also owned Alliance, were the gatekeepers, and you couldn't get your games into stores. It was just a nightmare. So we kind of gave up on that. Comics is a much better place to be. So anyway, last year, the year before, I actually put together a book of the art of Wench, the originals, and I have another book that has the pencil drawings. Now, I have started to add some of these to Facebook, and you can see them on there in my Facebook album. But many of these I've never done a walkthrough and shown a lot of the art. And some of it was art that didn't get published because it was for the second game. And some of it was in the first game. So this particular piece, this would have been Architect. This was going to be for the second game. And so all of these pieces are priced at $750. They're the actual original illustrations. And there was a lot of time and effort that went into this art. And, you know, when I was looking at different styles for how I was illustrating this, I was taking a lot of cues from the artist who draws Mandy. We just did a Mandy tribute for him too. It's escaping me, but one of you guys can chime in and tell me, because I'm trying to multitask here. So anyway, there's one of the first pieces. We're going to go through all this art. Both of these were published. These were both from the first game. This is UFO on the left. Very fun, cheeky, you know, alien is getting her bra off, you know, the camper girl. And then this one here was called Elbow. And this particular rule was if the card was in play and your elbow was on the table, then you had to take a drink. So this is a combination of fun pinup art and a drinking game. Anybody who buys any of the original paintings will also get a signed copy of the game Wench. This here on the left is Barfly. She got a little heart cut out in her top as she's two-fisting her, you know, hurricane, Mai Tai, and a beer, you know, sitting on the bench where she lives perpetually. And then on the right, a classic nod to the Coppertone commercial of the bikini bottom, you know, being pulled off and the crab is snipping away, and you see the little tan line there on the art there for crab. And I have sold a few of these along the way with a few of the Kickstarters, so it's not a complete set. There's some of my favorites are still here. I really liked how this piece turned out, called Astronaut. Like, she's on a different planet, and yet, you know, she's like, really? There's sharks even here? As the shark is like swimming around her, and she's in her space bubble outfit. So that's Astronaut. This one here on the left was going to be for the second game, so this one didn't get published. I believe this one was called Congress or Lawyer. Like, you know, she's yelling, "You're out of line!" And she's got her microphone like she's testifying before the Senate or something. And so there, you know, all these different characters represent different employments, different jobs, and so of course all the characters are women. So this one here is called Bumblebee, and the little bumblebee here on the right even has a camera in their hand. So she got a little tattoo that says "honey." Sweet colors there, and sometimes you'll see a W show up that's for Wench, that shows they're from the Wench game. These are all original full color illustrations with airbrush and hand painting. So on the left you have Hippie. She's got her jewelry and the peace symbol, little junk in the trunk. She's got some cards here in the back. It says 269. A little Wench earring, a little W, and you know, kind of John Lennon style glasses and cut off shorts. So that's Hippie. Then maybe the last one, I think the last one that had the shark was actually called Explorer, and then maybe this one was actually Astronaut. And then this is more of a nod to your classic Slim Pickens, you know, pinup girl riding the rocket ship. And, you know, she's got her lasso and everything there on the right. And I think that one was going to be for the second series. I don't think that was in the first set of cards. Here on the left, you have Cheerleader. But apparently on the Cheerleader, I decided to give her an M instead of a W. So instead of Wench, it has the M for Monty or Maverick. And she's caught unawares as her, skirt flies up, classic pinup style. Then over here on the right, we have the Mensa and tax law. She's got her calculator and her pens and her pencils. And so this is the, you better be smart girl to play this card. Card there, original illustration. She's the Mensa. Get her tax law books. She's smarty pants. Now this one here was the other one that was kind of like Congress, but this was called Draft. And when this card came up, you drafted another card. It's a card game playing kind of a thing. And you can see that the draft is also causing the papers to blow around and the briefcase to come open. And so Draft, card there on the right, and then Opera on the left. She's singing the lungs out on the Opera card, classic opera style with the big winged helmet. Okay. Somebody needs to make a comment. I can't tell if I'm live anymore. Either that or everybody went to sleep, or there's nobody watching. So on the left, we have the referee. She got the little W there, and it's kind of soccer balls and given rules changes. Michelle says, we see you. Thank you, Michelle. I was thinking I was talking to myself. Great. Thank you, Paula. Then on the right, we have, I think there was 2 cards. There was going to be one for librarian. And so she's holding the fingers up, telling everybody to shush. And so, obviously very cartoon style. All these characters, are a much bigger kind of, bigger eye kind of a style. And it's supposed to represent everybody's different paths, walks of life, races, creeds, colors, all that kind of thing. Over here on the left, this card was called Yawn. And if anybody caught you yawning and that card was in play, then you got busted. And I think that was how the rule played, but maybe the card itself was called Kitten, and that's why there was like this, crazy cat in the illustration. I'm convinced my mom Dodie to even watch. Oh, right on. 21 watching. Okay, great. Yeah, for some reason my counter isn't telling me what I'm doing. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Errol's watching. We have the zookeeper over here on the right, and the elephant's getting frisky with the zookeeper as the trunk wraps around her. The Z card for zoo. Then over here on the left, we had spam. And so if you played the spam card, then everybody else was able to just dump cards on them and just inundate them with their cruddy cards. And so this was the spam card. You can tell that this is an older illustration because even her CRT monitor is a big, fat, thick monitor instead of a nice, thin one that we all have today. On the right, this was going to be for the second game, which was called Double Trouble. So this is the card for Supermodel. So she's posing, and she's got the big hair and kind of lingerie and the pearls. So that's that one was the model card. This card was called Miser, and this one allowed you to save money. She's got a little wench pin there, kind of beret, money symbol in the hair, money symbol down here, and even on her dress. And so that was the Miser card. Then for a while too, I think I'm gonna turn this sideways here on this one. So we were pitching the idea, and we were trying to come up with a video game for the wench girls who would all be in the game. And so we came up with a game called Speed Wench. And it was a motorcycle game, and each one of the characters, depending on who was in your pit crew, allowed you to do different things. So for example, if on your team you had the cowgirl, she was able to use her lasso, and she'd be able to rope people off of their motorcycle. And so we had, I did a bunch of different promo illustrations for Speed Wench. Probably be easier for me just to flip these around. So you can see here like a futuristic version. Here you can tell that the Patriot character had, her exhaust was a Gatling gun. and it says "Defend Us" on the plate. It says "Patriot" on the back of the helmet. And then this character here was the Black Dragon. She was a new character, and so she had the super fast bike. Her and Schrader was her license plate. Then here, if this was opera, you could see that they could do a shatter or a V-boost or curtain call. And so you would have different cool buttons and things you would press to have other things happen to your opponents. So here's an example of the UFO girl at the finish line, and her bike is a hover bike, and it's all futuristic, and she's still got the alien giving her the fun sort of reach around, I guess, if you will. So these were just little promo illustrations. They never got published. They were kind of simple in nature. Looks like there's a couple more in here towards the end. This was for the second version. This was the masseuse, hands-on training. That would have been for Double Trouble. And then we've got our boxer on the left, brunette with the red outfit. This is one I'm not sure I want to sell. I really love this piece. Not that I have it on display, but it's very Pat Benatar, and I love Pat Benatar and grew up with 80s music and everything. So to me, when I did this card, which was called Rocker, this was sort of my Pat Benatar, you know, Josie and the Pussycats, Gem. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? The Runaways, Joan Jett. You know, they had the spiky hair, and they were beautiful, and they were, you know, these cool girl rockers. So that is the rocker card. So it looks like the last of the originals here is Surgeon, and very apropos for COVID today. She's got her gloves on, and when that card was in play, you weren't allowed to use your hands to touch your cards because you would have gotten your disinfectant, you know, your disinfected hands like dirty instead of clean. And so people would be trying to like move cards with elbows and everything like that because they had to keep their hands up while that card was in play. Yes, I am showing my age, but my age is cool. I'm like a badass 50-year-old. Yes, we are. Okay, so that's book number 2. Didn't seem like we had any takers on that art, but that is okay. We will save some of those for another day. I told you I have a lot of art. I might not be good, but at least I'm prolific. Okay, so we're going to set that book aside. And we're going to go to the next biggest one. We have 3 more books. Okay, so this is like a middle-sized book. Looks like whatever was there sold. And whatever was there sold. Okay, what is this? This is where originally I had some of the other Wench stuff. Okay, so this is going to be the Wench concept drawings and some random pinup art. And so you'll recognize some of the pieces that you saw that were for sale in the last book. And these are the concept sketches that I did before doing the finished art. Kevin says, badass old artists unite. I am with you. Indeed. So these pieces in here will probably range in size and price from, you know, under $100 to maybe $100 to $200. So this would have been the prelim for Kitten here on the left. That's $150. Vanessa says, she got booted and she's back. Well, you can always come over and look at art. We were going through some of the Wench art. So now this is the beginning of the Wench prelim art. This was a piece that didn't get put in the game, but was like total gothic, like rocker girl. You know, she's got the shredded leggings and the fishnets and, you know, tattoos, and she's all edgy and stuff. So that one's $150 for that one. This one here on the left, this is one of my favorites. This one isn't in the game, but what I ended up doing was painting this one on the front of my motorcycle. So for those of you who know, I'm kind of a biker kind of a guy. And so this pinup girl here for this original version called Draft, where it was the draft was blowing by, this is now painted on the front fender of my 86 VMAX. So that's just a sweet 40s style pinup illustration. Little pinup girl there on that one. That one's $200. Over here on the right, 125 for the prelim. Thanks for joining us, Mark. You can always check out the rest of the video later if you want to see anything else. This was Architect. This is prelim for Architect. This was another motorcycle one that became the astronaut one, but this one was painted on an Indian Scout that was in the World Bike Building Championships back in 2008. And of the top 50 motorcycles in the world that year that were invited to be in the build-offs, I painted 4 of the 50. I was kind of hoping I could have painted one more, and I could have painted 10% of the top 50 motorcycles in the country. That would have been cool. Yeah, so on the right, we have a Scout illustration. That one's 150. Here's the prelim for Congress. Prelim art. 2 more over here that are a little bit smaller. One of them was an earlier version of Miser where she's sitting on a stack of money. Ended up changing that one. And here's the prelim for UFO. So those are 125 each. Nice little pinup girl drawings. And then one over here that we definitely deemed was maybe crossing the line a little too much is the Naughty Nun. Here on the right, that one's priced at $200. You know, she's definitely got some bad habits, shall we say. Bada bing. There you go. Yep, we decided that one was maybe pushing our luck too much. So here's back to another one of the rocket ones. So you have one that she has the lasso and the bubble, and then on the other page where it's the Indian Scout. And they're both kind of similar. And that one's priced at $225. That's a little bit bigger one. And then over here on the right at $200, we have the prelim for the cheerleader. One of the very early sketches. This is probably one of the first top 10 sketches that I did for Wench. Andy, you got to know I love puns. I'm a very punny guy. Over here on the right, we have 2 sketches for $175 each. We have the hippie over here on the right. And then here on the left, we have the goth. And the reason why you didn't see that painting is I love how that painting turned out. And that was one of 4 or 5 pieces that I kept for myself. And I decided not to sell, and I framed and have in the studio. So this is the goth girl. This is the only one of that one that's available because I kept the painting. And then that's the hippie. And he says, I'm with you, brother. Here's the prelim for the bigger drawing you saw farther in that was larger and more fleshed out. This is the first version that I did of the construction girl. So she's $225. Then over here for $150, we have the massage school hands-on training pinup sketch. Nobody's helped me out with the name of the artist who I took inspiration from when I was doing this more big eye, skinny limb kind of thing. It's the Dean Eagle. Man, I can't believe I got there before you guys did. Dean Eagle was my influence for this style when I was doing these drawings. Kevin says, I jumped out for a sec. Did you show a drawing of Alien? Yes. No. Alien? You mean UFO? I don't think there's a UFO drawing in here. UFO was at the end of the last one. There's a UFO on... Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. You're right. That's the original drawing for UFO. If that's the one you mean. And I have the painting of that one as well. So that's that one if you're talking about that one. And Bad Habit. Ew, the Naughty Nun. She's just so racy. This is another one of my favorites. I'm trying to remember if I sold the painting or I gave the painting to a family member, but this is, she's given the symbol for out of air, but then the fish are pulling her bathing suit away. It's very classic pinup girl, something's always coming off or falling down. And so I really enjoy how this drawing turned out. It's a slightly larger drawing, so this one's $250. But I did not see the painting of Scuba in the other book, so that one must not be available. This is Explorer, the one with the shark and the bubble helmet. That one's 150. How much on the UFO drawing? I think that one's slightly smaller. Those are 125, Kevin. 125 on the UFO drawing. So let me know if you want me to pull that aside. This is Explorer here on the right. And then this one on the left, this was going to be for a finish line runner one, but it was, we changed it slightly. So rather than running sideways, it was more directly at you. So there's a runner finish line concept. So it's 125. And then here we have the prelims for Rocker here on the right, the Joan Jett looking kind of character. She has a different guitar. And then here on the left, Draft. And those are both 150. Got 4 more here. So these are 150. This is the Zookeeper up on the left. And then this was Casino, but we decided to change Casino. So this was going to be a card dealer. And I'll show you a little bit closer version of that one. So that's Zoo on the right and Casino. And then this is the original drawing for, you can see that UFO here on the left was a more of a back shot, and the little alien dudes are running away with their clothes. So we changed that to the UFO that you saw earlier. And then this was the first one for just a little rough of Congress. Okay, Kevin says he'll take the UFO drawing. So we'll pull that out for him. More art, finding a good home. Okay, so almost done with these. So we had the early UFO drawing. Here we have the Surgeon. Don't touchy the glovey. That one's 150. 4 more. So here on the left we have Opera. And then this one was going to be in the second one. This was going to be for like Science Lab Girl. I don't know if that was like a teacher's ed or maybe, I think it was just scientist. So she got a beaker with crazy stuff coming out of it. And she's got her lab coat on and she's holding a, a test tube there. And then down here on the bottom, we have Spam here on the right. These are all 150 on this page. And then we have Supermodel on the left. And those are the original drawings for prelims for those. Chemist, yes. I think it was just called Scientist, but it might have been called Chemist. She's got her lab goggles on too. So it was either Chemist or Scientist for sure. Okay, some of the last ones. So here on the left, we didn't end up using this one, and boy, did I draw her figure really long. And Sean was teasing me because he's like, how could her spine bend like that, right? She looks like Gumby. She's got this, you know, crazy curve to her spine. And yeah, I don't know. Apparently I was just like really pushing the boundaries there on what the human spine could do with the housework card. You know, because everybody does their housework in, you know, a cocktail dress. Of course. Don't be silly. Here's the, this was the first version of the tax law Mensa. She's looking for her calculator and, you know, ends up being, you know, kind of a crazy cleavage shot. And he says it gets the point across. This is the, I think I sold the original painting or I kept it for Unicorn. And so this one's priced at $200. This is one of the few that's actually like a really sweet illustration as opposed to, you know, overly sexy. So this is the princess and she's giving a hug to the unicorn. And so this was kind of like, you know, the adorable drawing. The princess giving a hug to the unicorn. So that one's priced at $200. We're getting down to the last couple. So the one here on the left was going to be for the second game, and this was called Cake. And this was a card where it was sort of like, take an extra card and have your cake and eat it too. And so this is like, you know, cowgirl, dancer girl coming out of the cake. Here on the left, that's $225. And then here on the right, this is kind of like Goth Fairy Girl. And that one is 150, and she's got little kind of light butterfly wings you can see in the background. A couple of smaller ones here on the left. This was the Farm Girl. She's got her box of corn and, you know, heavy boots, cut-offs, piece of straw in her mouth. Farm Girl, 150. On this one left is the elbow card. And then on the right, the military, and she's on the riding on the tank for 175. And of course, the drawing that I will not sell, that is the original illustration for Wink, and I kept the painting as well. And she became the poster girl for the look and the style, and was on all of our art and books and everything else. And so I have too much of an attachment to that drawing, so that one is not for sale. A Goth Fairy when Tinkerbell is just happy for you. That's right. Can you show Explorer when you finish this book? Yes. Do you want to see the Explorer drawing or the painting? The drawing was right back here. So that's Explorer drawing, Kevin. And then I can show you the painting as well. So this one is marked at 150 for the original drawing. And then let's see if there's anything else in here. All right, this book is done. Okay, so those are all the prelims from which I think I've only maybe shown those drawings one time online, and they're not available on my website. So if you want any of those, you have to let me know. And then Kevin wanted to see Explorer real quick. Oh, I went right to it. Look at that. Boom, one shot. So that's the original illustration. That's the full color version of Explorer. And those are priced at $7.50 each for the painting. So there you go. Hopefully that shows you what you're looking for. So let me know if you want to put something on hold for yourself. Andy says, it was destiny. That's right. I'm just that good. Okay, we're getting near the end here, my friends. We have 2 books left. We have Big and Bigger. And these are going to start getting into the pricier pieces too. So I took it easy on you earlier, but hold on to your wallets, kids. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. I see, here's some cheap stuff right in the beginning. Okay, so at the top, this was just a little promo piece that I did for my cover-up Kickstarter years ago. It's like a little piece of teaser art, and it's actually drawn with ballpoint pen, and she's holding a little sign that says cover up, like coming soon. So that's $50 for the pen illustration, ballpoint pen. And then down here, we have one that's $95. Kevin says he'll take the Explorer drawing and the painting. Great. Yeah, it's nice to keep that as a set. Thank you very much for that. I will follow up with you that afterwards. There's another one of the Hammer illustrations that was kind of construction girl. She's got her knee pads and things like that. So this was for another concept for the construction company. Commercial art assignment, little pinup girl. $95. All right, now we're getting into some bigger pieces here. I have to see on my camera if you guys can see both pieces at once or not. So the piece on the left is called Rock and Rolla. It looks like I'm going to need to adjust here. Okay, so this is Rock and Rolla. You can see a lot of these pieces in the Facebook folder. This was a piece of art not for a client, that was for just my fans as a print and as a playmat. And the reason why it's horizontally formatted is because of the playmat orientation. And there's another image that I've already sold the original that's called Steamy Spinner. And it was kind of the same character, this kind of steampunk DJ, you know, wearing purple, same kind of outfit. So this was like a follow-up, a second piece. This is priced at $1,200. This is acrylics and mixed media. And usually that means it's airbrush, it's hand painting, it's markers, it's colored pencil. It's all this stuff all together. So that's the first piece there. That's Rock and Rolla. Then this is another piece for our Maiden's Gauntlet game that we didn't end up getting published. Well, it's not that we were going to be the ones to publish it. We just didn't finish the game and do all the artwork. It would have been a multi-year undertaking. So this particular piece of art is a science fiction version of Joan of Arc. And so in each of these versions that we were doing, there was different characters that you could play. And so in this one, she could control fire, and you can see this kind of dome shield kind of above her, and she's got fire blade and this cool big blaster, but her armor is like this super cool futuristic melding of sci-fi and fantasy. So this is the Joan of Arc art, and that's priced at $1,200. Now, if these were cover illustrations that were published, they'd be in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, because that's what like the Lady Deaths and the Vampirellas and all that kind of stuff sells for these days. So some of these prices you're seeing here is because they're not book cover illustrations that are published or are well known. But they still have a lot of time in them. Do you have any Vampirella artwork available? No, unfortunately, it's all sold at the moment. I have one piece in process that may or may not be a cover, but I have a lot of stuff on my schedule, so at the moment I can't finish it. So this is another, this was a game, role-playing game, like a Dungeons and Dragons, and we were going to do our own module, and it was called Buried in Backwater. So this was printed and published as a playmat and as a print, but it was not for a larger publisher like Dungeons and Dragons, but a very nice fantasy illustration. It's got nice depth, and she's fighting these lizard guys, and there's another character coming out of the background, and there's an old town in the very, very back, hidden in the mist. So that's just a very nice illustration, fantasy style. It's priced at $1,200. It's called Buried in Backwater. And part of this illustration, believe it or not, was done in Scotland. I was working on it when I was over there in a hotel room. Oh, going the wrong way. It's upside down. Okay, whatever was here was $2,000, and it's now sold. It is gone out of its home. Okay, some of these I know you guys have seen me post online. This is pretty big for a pencil drawing, especially with this kind of detail. These pieces, this is a published cover, so this is $3,000. Sometimes drawings like this have as much time in them as a painting. It's just that you're not picking up different colors when you're working. But the thing that makes it more rare is in today's world of comics and stuff, there's very, very few artists who do highly detailed, very finished black and whites. Something that I've won the World Fantasy Art Show twice for. And was fourth in the world for Western art for pencil as well. So you just don't see as many artists, and I always butcher his last name. The one who has work I really enjoy is Jay Ancalito. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he's amazing. And he's one of the few other illustrators that I've seen that will do really finished black and whites that are tight enough that publishers such as Ryan or Murat or Jesse will publish pencils like this. And so it's very flattering when just your pencil work is strong enough to be published as a cover. So this is a published cover for Persuasion. Persuasion is the only Persuasion cover I've done. This was done last year. This is 2020. And this drawing was sold. This is one of my favorites from all of last year. This was also from 2020. And this is the Battle Fairies cover. This was from Murat Michaels. This is another one that was digitally colored, but also I believe there was maybe a limited version that was produced in black and white. That was a gold cover, I think, or maybe it was done in color, but then it was done in gold. You know, as an artist, there's certain pieces that sort of speak to you and jump out at you. And when I look at how the skin tones turned out, the sweetness of her face, the polished of the skin tones, that without there being any airbrush in this art, all that being pencil, this is one of my favorite illustrations from the entire year. That and probably most of the art from Loco Hero. So this piece was sold. Somebody had it on hold for like 6 or 8 months. And then I don't know if they overcommitted to other things or what. But anyway, it's available again. So not a big deal. I'm happy to resell it to somebody else. I know it'll sell. It's priced at $3,000. The bigger drawings are now selling for $4,000 and $5,000 that are larger than this, that are published covers. So anyway, this is Battle Fairies. It's a stellar piece. I'm sure it'll find a good home. I love how that one turned out. This was a charity donation creation. This is a tribute to Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise. And this was published in a book for the Baltimore Comic-Con, and every year they do a tribute book to a specific artist or publisher. So this is one of Terry Moore's characters from Strangers in Paradise, and I tried to capture a little bit of that kind of unique design style and whatnot. So this is a published piece. This is priced at $900, and you can probably find a copy of that book online. This was created in 2018. And got a couple more in here before we're done with this book. So this is Zomben on the left. I told you that I don't think that cover ever got published. It was a cover for Mile High Comics, and then the publisher forgot to actually give them their print run. So probably won't ever get used. It's one of the reasons why it's marked down. It's a lot cheaper than a published cover. It's priced at $600 for full painting. But an unused cover usually doesn't have a lot of value unless that title then goes on to become like a big seller, and it's, the next Walking Dead. Now this drawing is a super rarity, and it's a very polished drawing from all the way back in 1999. And the reason why I still have it is because I bought it back from the collector. So some collectors, speculated early on, and then when they're ready to sell part of their collection, in this case, the owner was ready to send his daughter to college, and so he was selling off part of his art collection. And so I bought back almost all the originals. Actually, I think I did buy all the originals back. And several of them were Image covers. So Image Comics had a title that was called Exposure. And this was one of the characters. Now, I did a cover for Exposure, and this was a separate pinup, black and white. And she has a little Paratech, it's supposed to be this sort of like sexy X-Files kind of a thing. And it was actually published by Image. Now, this wasn't used as a cover, but this character I did do a cover for Exposure. So this piece was published. It was in one of my earlier art books. This would have been in volume 1 or volume 2 of Maidens, I believe, for Exposure. An Image title. This is from 1999. It's $750 for that one. Now, I had somebody who almost bought this one this week, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. So I don't know if somebody else wants to snatch it up before he gets back to me or not. But this was not a cover on the left, but it was for Zenescope, and it was published in their horror cosplay edition. And so they have a character who's a blonde called the Black Knight. And for this assignment, they said the Black Knight is cosplaying as Godzilla. And so I love the whimsicalness of this illustration in that she's dressed up, she's in front of a saggy backdrop, and then she's holding one of the planes, and the planes are models that are supported by string. And then down below, you can see she's in like a diorama that gives her scale, like she's Godzilla. Like she's tramping around the city. And you can even say that the sign for the paint company says More Paints. So I love little fun things like that about hidden things in pinup art. Here's one more piece of motorcycle art that would have been from the game that I told you about earlier called Boneyard. This is on a piece of illustration board. And this was an illustration for V-Twin. And so you had the V-Twin motor. And then when we produced the card, I photoshopped this exact same character on the other side so that there was twins. But in this illustration, there's just one of them. So for some reason, that got ripped off. I don't know why. So this would be like $225 for this ink illustration of V-Twin. If you're a Harley guy, this would be a fun collectible to have a piece of original art. There's another one of the Boneyard pieces. I'm trying to remember what this one was called. Black ink or something like that. But, you know, the full Tribals ink style, you know, with the black roses and the serpent coming through the skull and the 8-ball in the mouth and the serpent coming out of the inner eye socket. This was all part of Boneyard art, you know, kind of t-shirt style. That one's priced at $250. And then we have another one of the big ones for $1,500. This was for Zenescope. This is the character Mercy. And she's a killer. And she's cool, and even her dog tag there say Mercy. And if you say you're not going to buy the art because her finger's on the trigger, well, then you must not know that, you know, she doesn't care what you think about her safety conscious. She's a badass, and she's, you know, ready to get nasty. She's ready to go into battle. So this is a very detailed, very fleshed out illustration of the character Mercy. This was published in Zenescope's patriotic military tribute book, and this was the Army tribute for Mercy. So $1,500 for that one. This is another one of the Wench illustrations. This was a Christmas card where you have a fun little snowman, and he's trying to lift up the fuzzy skirt of Santa Girl. This one's priced at $750, just like the other ones for Wench, except it's on a bigger piece of paper. So, but the art size is fairly comparable to the other. She's awesome. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. This is another illustration from 1994. And then I added the background and the other two planes in 2019. And so this was a piece of art. It was just the plane here, the fighter jet. And it was for a model show where, you know, it was planes, trains, and fighters and, you know, all that kind of thing. And so I did all this different art for a poster to promote this model show that, like, Caboose Hobbies was having. And so I added the planes in the background later on. And so that one's priced at $400. And that looks like that is the last illustration in there. Paula says, Mercy is definitely a badass. You are correct. All right, we're almost done, folks. We're down to the very last book, and there's not very many in here because these are the big illustrations. And these are the cover illustrations. And I think there's only 6 or 8 pieces that are in here because that are larger. Some of them are newer, and some of them are older. So this piece is brand new. It's only about 3 weeks old. This debuted about 2 weeks ago in Marat Michael's Kickstarter. And this is a rockabilly cover. And you can see the two naughty and nice characters. Her jacket on the back says Misfits. And she's got a little good girl tattoo. And she's, of course, got the bad girl tattoo. You can't really see the sign over here in its completion, but it was supposed to say fresh hot buns. And of course, you got this totally shackled up, like 32 Ford, you know, that's slammed low to the ground. So this is one of the awards, the rockabilly cover. And he says, I bought that cover on the Kick, right on. Well, I appreciate that support. So anyway, this is the original art. This is priced at $3,000. That's the same size as the other covers on the other side. But this is a full color piece. If it was a Lady Death one or it was Vampirella, it would probably be priced more than that. But usually the indie covers sell for a little bit less. Okay. So over here on the left, we have a book cover. This is for the book series called The Library by Josh Weisselberg. Follows me here on Facebook. I did 3 or 4 covers for some of his independent novels that he writes and promotes himself. So this particular book takes place during a hurricane down in Florida. You got super badass supercar in the background. You can see what the cover looked like printed here in the lower corner. Hopefully you guys can see all that. And there's a crocodile down here, and then you've got these two kind of like spy girls, and she's got crossbow and a gun, and then you have the hunky guy down here in the corner. And so he's underneath the illustration here, but this just shows what the full cover looks like. This is priced at $1,500. And then this cover just debuted this week. Let me move it over so it's in a better spot. This is priced at $2,500. It's a little bit smaller than the other covers. This is for Wendy Shainer's Kickstarter coming up at the end of the month, the Naughty Fairies campaign. And you can see on this illustration here, which again just came out this week, it says Maverick there on the bike, and it's a real old style, like single pumper, you know, retro motorcycle. And of course, cowgirl meets, you know, hottie fairy underboob. Very sexy. Very complete drawing. I'm sure there'll probably be a version colored and uncolored is my guess, but I don't really know what she's planning there. So that one's priced at $2,500. Then we got two big pieces here. This one's priced at $5,000. This is the cover to my newest art book that many of you supported on Kickstarter. So thank you very much. This is this cover is called Destination Unknown. This is, you know, you've got, I wanted to combine a lot of things that were in the art book. So not only do I want to have cars and futuristic, but beautiful girls and a little bit of Western and wildlife. And so to combine all that in one cover took a lot of effort and design. And of course, you've got the old Eleanor car, but it's, you know, totally like Mad Maxed out. And so there's a lot of detail in this illustration. It's very large, 18 by 24. And so this piece is priced at $5,000 because it's one of my book covers for my own book. And, oh, thank you, Michelle. She says the art book is amazing. That means if you haven't bought a copy, you need to reach out to me and get one, because we did overprint by a couple hundred. So, I think every other cover that I've ever done for any of my art books is all sold. So one of the reasons why, you know, things like this are more sought after by collectors is because, none of the other 9 book covers are available. Here you have another Murat Michaels. This is a cover for Naughty and Nice. And I called this cover the Punish Her cover. And so over here you can see she's got a tattoo that says Punish Her. And then on her bikini down here on the bottom, it says Punish Me. This is rather large, so I'm trying to like hold it up so you guys can see some of the detail. You can see her tattoos and everything there. This is another pretty big cover, 17 by 22 inches. A lot of detail in all of the military tactical gear. That one's priced at $3,200 for that published cover. That was for one of Murat Michaels' earlier campaigns. That was in, where's the year? I think I hid my signature somewhere. It's on one of the guns. I think it was from the year before last. It was either 19 or 20. Okay, this was a pretty popular cover from 2 or 3 years ago. This is one of the only, there's a couple of things that makes this cover very rare. And one is that I don't usually do homage covers. It's just not my thing. I'd rather do originals. However, when Scorpion Comics asked me to do this particular cover, I decided to do it as an oil painting, as Frank Frazetta would have done it, because they wanted a Death Dealer tribute. But they said, can you paint him on a white buffalo, the character on a white buffalo instead? So this is an oil painting. It's on canvas. It's the same methodology that Frank Frazetta would have used. You get a lot of homage elements like the hawk eagle sort of shapes in the background. Of course, the gun instead of the axe. And, you know, you see the fire background. And then even down in the lower corner, down here on the right, it says after Frank Frazetta, which when you're truly doing an homage cover, you actually, that's the proper way to do it. Rather than just saying, oh, it looks like you copied so-and-so's layout. The proper and legal and artistic, ethical thing to do, if you're doing that, is to always write after McFarlane, after Frazetta, after Moore, whoever you're doing. And anybody who tells you different doesn't know the proper rules and etiquette and laws. And the reason why I know that is I actually asked Frank Frazetta's daughter, granddaughter, how I should properly tribute it. And she said, after Frank Frazetta. And so that is straight from the Frazetta mouth that I had their blessing to create that homage. And this is the only Monte Moore homage cover that has ever been created. So that's priced at $3,200. A couple of people almost bought this over the years, but they usually bought something else instead. So it wasn't that they decided not to buy this, but they decided to buy something else. So this piece here is was actually a commercial art assignment that I just found in one of my drawers. I decided to throw it in the original art bin. It's priced at $1,000. It's a mixed media illustration. It's the whole Don Quixote jousting at windmills, and the windmill is a giant troll hidden in the windmill. But instead of being on a donkey, it's on a Harley. And so it's a modern version of the whole Don Quixote kind of a thing. There's even a couple of dragon shapes up here in the background. You can see the dragon head with the wings here, and the tail kind of whips around there. So jousting at windmills, $1,000. It's a original illustration that was for a client. Oh, and it's upside down. I think we're almost done. There may be one or two more illustrations in here, and then we're done. Oh, yeah, there's two. Okay, one of my all-time favorite fantasy pieces. This is the original art for Hear Me Roar. Very popular playmat for San Diego and for Denver Comic-Con. It was used as the promo art for the Kickstarter that we did this last fall. That was called the Menagerie. And this is my own version of a manticore. So, of course, I call it the Manticore. Because typically in the manticore, you would have the body of a lion, the wings, and the tail of a scorpion. However, I decided to also add the markings of a tiger and the horns of a ram. So you'll probably never see an exact one that's like that also has ram horns on it. So this is the original for Hear Me Roar. That's $3,200. It's a mixed media painting. And then this is a 1940s style illustration that was for one of my clients. And he has a race truck. And so he had vinyls made that said overnight express delivery. And this is the original illustration that those were created from. But he didn't buy the original illustration. Sometimes customers do buy the original art. But this is very 1940s style. Somebody said she kind of looks like a young Gina Davis. Michelle says she's got that mat. There you go. I love it. So this one is priced at $1,800 for the overnight express delivery. There's a lot of time that goes into trying to illustrate words. I don't recommend it unless you have a lot of patience, because it takes forever. Okay, and I think that might be it. I think we're done. We are done. Yep, there's nothing more there. So it seems like we went somewhere over an hour. I'm not exactly sure what time it is. But that's pretty much what I had for you, folks. Let's take this out of the holder and see if I can flip the camera back. Oh, we can do a little review real quick. There's some pieces there. I turned off the overhead light so you can see some of the pieces sitting there. And I've got some messengers coming in on things that people want to see. Now you can go back and review the replay from earlier as well. And you can message me if you have any questions on what you want. So I'm going to turn this back around. All right. Hey, there we are. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. So, one of the things about that I've learned from Brian Polito, who's a great publisher, is that you want to stay engaged with your fans. And engaged means, being able to talk and offer things and go over projects and comics and things like that. So if you guys want, I can go over some comics that I have here in front of me that are left over from Loco Hero and a few other projects. Unless people need to blaze, if you've got another 10, 15 minutes, I can go over some comics if you'd like. And then I would encourage people who haven't checked out and supported the Kickstarter yet to, please check out Blood and Bullets, which is currently online. We still have 12 to 13 days left of the campaign. Phil says, hell yeah. I think that means he wants to see some comics. Andy says he's down. Okay. I'm going to do that. So what we're going to do is trying to see if there's room up here to set the comics rack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, and then I'm going to grab the big old comics rack, and I'm going to set it up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this here for a minute, and you guys can look at the ceiling while I grab the comics. Okay, incoming. Okay. We can always do more. All right. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but we're gonna do some comics. We're gonna see if I need to turn on the overhead lights or not. So I'm gonna turn around. This is fine. Okay. We'll go through some books here. Now, you'll have to forgive the glare on some of these. Most of these should already be priced, and they should be similar to what they were priced during the campaign. So we still have other books available of these. If you see one here, it doesn't mean there's necessarily only one, but there might be. I don't know what the quantities are. Daniel says, quick question, we'd be signing all of the books. Yes. So unless people make requests to have their books not signed, I sign all the books. And so, during the last campaign, there was maybe 4 or 5 collectors who wanted raw unsigned books, and we had to reship their books. But otherwise, they will either all be signed, or if we can do it in the survey where it says signed or unsigned, you'll be able to choose what you'll be able to get. So, okay. So we're going to go over some Loco Hero stuff. So this is one of the leftover prints that people could order. This was the metal print. Now, you can't actually buy this book because you had to get the special Loco Supreme tier. So this is my art. There was 8 or 9 different movies and references that were hidden in this drawing. And so this print is a metal print. It's $40. It's hard for me to get a Loco book since I have them all. See, there you go. There was a few people who got Loco Supreme who, will have most of this stuff. So this is an eBass. This is the hollow foil cover. So you can see how the coloration there on the blades plays off of that. It's $50. This was painted by me. So the original, which I sold to a collector, this was the first collaboration that Eric Basildura and I ever did. So that was the eBass variant. And here we have one of the Ryan Kincaid covers. This is a little funny pin there. She always has a different pin. Oh, that one actually has a remark on it. Okay. Interesting. I wonder why I have a book that has a remark on it. Normally those should all have been gone. So the remark books will be $100 if it has a remark on it, because the remark usually is an extra $50. It's odd seeing eBass work that isn't fully nude. Right. So this cover here, this would be $100 for this version of the book. It's signed. It's the hollow foil, and it has a remark. I'm not sure why. It's very perplexing. There's only one book here that randomly has a remark that's remarked on it. So anyway, there you go. There's one of those. Because right now I'm not offering additional remarks. I have too many things on my plate. Because we have the other Kickstarter, and I also have commissions that are due. So no new remark requests, please. Maybe someone changed their mind on it. Okay, Denise, I will set that one aside for you. She got the one with the remark. Excellent. I can add that to your goodie box because I have your other box sitting right over there for you. Okay, so this is the Marat Michaels cover. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. This is the regular edition, not the hollow foil. And this kind of shows like the night and day of the character, of how she looks on the left and she's really facing a thug. But what she really sees in her mind is that she's, Roman goddess facing off a spear chucking, undead kind of guy. And so that's the life of Loco Hero. So that's the Murat Michaels cover. That one's 30. So there's 2 of those that are sitting there. Looks like there's 2 more of the Kincaid that we just looked at, but those do not have remarks on them. Okay, so there's 2 here of the Michael Magellanis. He's an artist from overseas. Just did a phenomenal job. This one's colored by Sanju. And this is the hollow foil cover. So you get the really cool play of the foils and the fires and stuff like that. I love how this cover turned out. And she's just like majorly kicking ass on these robotic dudes. John has them all. We actually created the Loco Hero, the Loco Supreme, because he said, we need some that, that has everything. So there's 2 of those that are available. Those are 50. Looks like we will have one here for 30. That is the eBass pencil. Now, this was the only cover that I chose to do as a raw pencil cover. And I sold that original as well to a collector. And that one is 30. Okay, let's see what else we got here. This is what I call my art core team. This is the hollow foil cover. And so this is the same artists that are on the inside of the book. Donnie on pencils and Sean Callahan on colors. This is the hollow foil book of this cover I call Midnight Marauder. And this was his tryout art. I said, do me a piece of art. Here's my character. And that's the piece of art that sort of got him the job. So kind of cool. Looks like there's 2 of those that are sitting there that are the hollow foil with the real pretty colors. Oh, looks like we have a Turtles book here. So this was kind of neat. This was a Mile High Comics exclusive. And this one is there was a lot of there was a lot of variant covers because this was the big issue 100. And so this was a very celebrated cover. And I can't believe they didn't make me change that. But here in the background, it actually said more pizza. And I really thought that when I submitted the sketch, they're going to be like, yeah, you can't have that in the background. But they totally didn't make me change it. Phil Kern says he'll take an art core. Great. Let me set that aside for you, the hollow foil. Your stash is over here, Phil. Okay. And Phil will take a Turtles as well. Okay. I'm pretty sure I have more Turtles. So if anybody wants Turtles or Terminator, John says he loves the raw pencil. Kevin will take a Turtles as well. Okay, follow up with me on that because I do have more of those, but they might not be on the rack at the moment. Okay, what do we got here? This was I loved this cover so much that this was kind of the promo art that I used for the header for the Loco Hero campaign. So this is the Mike Chrome. And so I montaged that together to make the cover. So this is the Virgin. So that one would be 30 for the Mike Chrome cover. Then here's one of mine. I decided not to sell this original art. I kept, and so this cover here is called the Barely Sane cover. I drew that right at the very beginning of the campaign. And it's one of the Monte Moore covers. My own art. Not all publishers can also do their own covers. Makes it a rarity. I still have the original art of this. I haven't put it available or anything, but this is the Mike DeBalfo cover that I also did the painted version for. So I have Mike's original pencil, and I have the painting, the framed painting available as well. Denise says Scott stole mine. It's his favorite. That's awesome. So this is the Mike DeBalfo cover. Very cool piece. The framed original is available. And I have Mike's pencils as well of that particular one. So this is a hollow foil. So this one would be 50. Mike DeBalfo cover for Loco Hero. And then we've got a hollow foil here of the Jesse Witchman. Now this might be one of the last couple that we have of this one because believe it or not, and it's probably not hard to believe since it's very sexy, that this was one of our most sought after covers. So this is the hollow foil of the Witchman cover. And I made sure I put the logo over on the right because I didn't want to cover up anything. So this was a very popular tier. So this is the hollow foil of the Jesse Witchman cover, and that one is 50. Might be one of the last ones of that one. Let's see what else. We've already shown that one. Oh, we got a Nadia Nice hiding back here. This was a variant cover, very limited run. This is an artist proof book. This is number 3 of 10 artist proofs. This is the cosplay variant. Monte Moore, you can see over here, Menage a Trois, number 8 cosplay variant. This is one of my pieces of fantasy art, and this is an artist proof book. Those are 100. Usually the artist proof books all kind of sell in that kind of like 100 to 150 range. These are MMM books. So these looks like there's 5 or 6. So I have these priced at 50. Normally those would be 100. I'm not sure why that says 50. Okay, you guys, sorry, we have to back up here. So the naughty fun fact was so popular, Jesse couldn't get his own cover. Okay, so the Naughty and Nice. Okay, so that one, Phil wanted that one. And then Denise, which one did you want? Oh, you wanted the Naughty and Nice? Let me see if there's another one. There might be more up here. If we find another one for you, Denise, I'll pull it. Sorry, Phil got there first. But there might be more. There's more Naughty and Nice. I'll look. Okay, anyway, so this one is the Persuasion cover that you saw earlier. Sorry, there's plastic on this one. So these are 50. I'm not sure why I have these marked at 50, but apparently I do. It is an MMM book. You can see my initials up there. So that is an artist proof book. And those are marked at 50 for Persuasion. Here's a rare book. This one I've had for a long time. This is from 2012. And this is a metal cover. And it's an AP. And so this is a Naughty and Nice. This was a Christmas edition. This was quite a while ago. This was the Monte Moore Metal Edition, number 6. And there was only 15 made. This is number 14 of 15. And this is a metal cover. So it has the full metal cover on there. Has a real nice sheen to it. So those are 150. And there's only one of these. So this came out of like, I don't know, my stash somewhere. I was like, why do I still have one of these? I have like 1 or 2 of these weird metals left over, and I don't remember where, if I bought them online or whether I got them from the publisher. So there's only one of those. Okay, so here is another Naughty and Nice. Denise, this one can be yours. This is the MMM number 3, just like the other one was number 3 that Phil got. Phil, you got the trade cover, and Denise, you got the Virgin cover. So I will set that over here with yours. Okay, cool. That worked out well. Okay, so there's a couple of, there's 3 La Muerta covers here. This was a really cool illustration that I believe CC De La Cruz did the coloring on this one based on my pencil drawing. And a lot of detail went into this drawing. I don't believe this is an AP book. It's not. So this book's marked at 75. It's not an AP. I got 4 or 5 copies from the publisher, but for whatever reason, this particular version of this book, there was no APs of it. It was limited to 150 copies. I still think this is one of the best La Muerta covers. Thank you. I hope they release it someday with just the pencil, because the black and white pencil as a big drawing was one of my best. It really turned out cool. We got another Loco Hero here. A couple more Loco Hero up at the top. So this is one of the very first illustrations I ever did of my character. She's got her dog tags as her earring, and she has an I Love Bacon shirt pin. So this is called Back Alley Brawler. So black and white. This is one of the Monte Moore Art Core covers, and so that one would be 30. And let's see, this is the eBass cover again. This one is not the hollow foil, this is the regular edition. So this would be 30 for the eBass cover. I'm sure you sold the original art for La Muerta. Yes. Actually, at the moment, every piece of Lady Death, La Muerta, and Coffin Comics art that I have done is sold. I have nothing other than a few concept sketches. Yes, it's sold. Most of that stuff sells right away to collectors before it ever hits the open market. Here's the Witchman cover. This is the Virgin version of the Witchman cover. So this would be 50 for the Virgin of the Witchman cover of Loco Hero. Looks like there's one of those. Okay, we got Undiscovered Country. Okay, so this is kind of cool because this is a #1. And this was, it's this very sort of cool Mad Max, crazy Gila monsters with guns and, I Want You, Uncle Sam thing happening. Tons of detail. This is an Image title. I had not done an Image cover in like 20 years. Vanessa will say, let me check if I have Brawler. Okay, that sounds good. So this is Undiscovered Country. This is #1. And there's a lot of people who speculate that this title may be their replacement for The Walking Dead when they end The Walking Dead. If the Undiscovered Country will become their next big one. So that one's 50 for Undiscovered Country #1. Here is another cosplay variant cover. This one was super popular. It sold out pretty quickly for Comics Elite and Counterpoint. And this is based on my popular Hellions Haven cover. And this is one of the artist proofs. So rather than taking payment, I just had to make me a couple extra proofs. So this is a wraparound cover. So the other half of the illustration is on the other side. So I suppose if you had 2 of them, you could flip them around and show both. That'd be kind of cool. But anyway, those are 150. It looks like there's 3 left of that one. And I think they are all the Virgin cover. Yes, there's 3 left of that one. Those are numbered. Those are the APs. AP number 20. Okay, we got another #1. I've been fortunate to be on a bunch of #1 books lately. So this is Terminator versus Transformers. Grab me a Wild West 2, please, sir. Okay, so you want the metal print that was... yep. So let me move this over here for you, Kevin. We'll set that aside. So back to this cover. This is Terminator versus Transformers. The illustration, the painting was much, much larger, and they decided to just zoom in on this part. So I don't know why I spent so much time drawing like the Optimus Prime and the truck and the splash and all that sort of stuff. Phil, do you want one of these? We'll put it in your pile. Looks like there's probably 4 or 5 left of those. Those are 40. We'll put it over here with Phil's stash, Phil and Kevin. That's Terminator versus Transformers #1. This was another cosplay variant. This one came out last year, 4th of July. And that is, this is #8 of the cosplay variant. Kevin, Terminator versus 2 and 1 with the girl with the vet. Okay, so you want one. So Kevin wants one of these. And he wants a Terminator. Okay, hopefully you're keeping a list of this, Kevin. We'll set a Terminator there. That's with Kevin stuff. So I have an old Corvette like this that I traded a motorcycle for that I custom painted a long, long time ago. And so this was sort of kind of to represent my car, but my car is no longer red. Do I see a Seasons cover? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a Seasons up here. I have one left. This is the very last one of the Frank Frazetta homage cover. It's 150. These sold out very quickly. You can find them occasionally on eBay. I don't know what they go for or if they're signed. This is my very last one of this one. 150. Kevin wants 2 of The Girl with the Vet. Okay, so let me set 2 of those. So that means there's only 1 left of that one. That was the American Made cover. So back to this. This is the last one of the Frazetta Homage cover. We'll stick that back. So the one maybe that you thought was a Seasons probably was this Persuasion that we just went over a little bit ago. And so these are the proofs, the artist proofs. So apparently I have this version marked at 100, but the other version's marked at 50. Who knows how that happened, but I will honor it. So those are artist proof books. So I think there's like 5 of each of those. They're not numbered, but there is only 5. So any of the books, if you want a COA, I can send a COA with them. Oh, yeah, there we go. And this is the hollow foil version of the black and white. This is the MMM. So these books would be 100. Hollow foil Persuasion, black and white cover. I think the hollow foil with the pencil just looks so cool because it's just such a clean, crisp, like fine art kind of a look. Sometimes the color, depending on how the colorist handles it, sometimes it can enhance a piece and sometimes it can get in the way. But either way, that's still appealing no matter how you slice it. Okay, it looks like that's pretty much all the books in the rack. So that's going to be it for today. Lots of stuff pulled aside. I think you guys did very well. Yep, I'm pretty sure that was everything I was going to go through. And it's been like 2.5 hours. Not many hollow foil black and white. No, they're not, but they're super cool. And there needs to be more of them. But there's also a few artists who are doing fully rendered work in black and white. So I think that's probably why. There we go. Much easier background than light coming in behind my head. Denise, thank you. Andy, appreciate it. Gus wants to get the eBass 30 cover. Yes. The eBass one was right there. Great. Okay. So since you guys kind of know what you've set aside and I was just here on my own, I do have some little stashes. I have notes on a few things, but not everything. So do me the favor. Send me a message with what you had me pull aside, what the prices were. And, if you have a total, you can send me the total. And then that way we can put your address in. We can figure out what the shipping is. And then on everybody who was able to get something, do our best to try to throw in some extra like fun swag or a pin or some stickers or a lanyard or, something cool, something to say thanks. So I know we had a number of people who got multiple things. Kevin, Phil Kearns, Denise, Gus added a couple things. Vanessa, some of you guys have 3 or 4 or 5 items each. So it's like a little mini con, but you didn't have to leave your house, and neither did I. Well, that's kind of nice. So anyway, I appreciate everybody. If you haven't checked out Blood and Bullets, please do. If it's not your cup of tea, maybe you can just share it out to people on social media, and then that way they can check out those wares. It's a passion project for me, like a lot of other things, where that particular story I wrote a decade ago, and it's been optioned several times as a screenplay by a Hollywood producer. But since the rights were available back to me, I decided to move forward with turning it into a series of graphic novels so that I can then market it to Hollywood, hopefully. But one of the really cool things is that Blood and Bullets #2 is almost already completely drawn. And so, yeah, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. It'll be the next sensation hitting the nation. See, it's got some nice alliteration there. The artist for that, Silvano Beltramo, who's doing a fantastic job, is literally on like the final finale of issue 2 already. So not only is issue 1 already in the can and literally ready to go to print, lettered, colored, everything looks awesome. The covers are in, and we will be, rocking right through that. But it also means that there won't be, much of a delay, and we can go right into Local Hero number 2, then Blood and Bullets number 2, and then Midnight Cafe, which is my sort of supernatural, dark, cosmic anthology of short stories and some ongoing things. Work that's a bit edgier, and there's some occult horror and some supernatural, and there'll be some sci-fi and some Bigfoot and some werewolves and vampires, and just all sorts of stuff that's really like cool and creepy, and yet makes us all want to watch. So I have 2 or 3 art teams starting up now on pieces for the Midnight Cafe, which is, we're just going to call it a cosmic crossroads, if you will, and let you learn more about that project as it develops. I did just start a page called the Midnight Cafe that you can like and follow as well if you're interested. And, there's my suit of armor that I helped design, and my buddy Gabriele Stazzi made out of leather. He worked on Ben-Hur and Pirates of the Caribbean, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, not everybody has a suit of leather armor in their garage. Anyway, if you have questions, hit me up. We'll sort out the details. Thanks for everybody for their support. I realize this was kind of an impromptu kind of a deal, but I think it was successful. People wanted to watch. Allows us to all, stay home, stay safe, still get cool stuff in the mail. And, it keeps me off the streets. Because you don't want the alternative. You do not want me to sing for a living. Trust me. Andy wants to get a job at the Midnight Cafe. Well, you might need to get your international passport. I'm just saying. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Please check out and support Blood and Bullets if you can. Check out indie publishing all over. There's great Kickstarters out there from everybody, from upcoming ones from Coffin Comics. Tom Hutchinson's Wicked Oz is still going on. Marat just finished his. Wendy Shainer is starting Naughty Fairies up soon. And Savage Sasquatch, Wes Hartman. There's a lot of great ones out there. Vanessa says she wants a brawler. I will pull that aside for you. I think I already did. Yeah, it's already over here on the side. Okay, you're good to go. So the only person who's allowed to follow up and come pick up stuff locally is Vanessa, because she's, right up the road. Everybody else, I'll have to ship it to you unless you're that close. Well, actually, no, Gus, not Gus. Shandano Cornell has 2 sculptures on hold, and he's coming to pick those up. If you're in Colorado, if you're in the Denver area, you're invited to come by the studio and pick up your order in person. Karen, stay safe out there in Canada. We know it's a ways away. Thanks for your support. You have a commission coming up very soon. So I'll be getting with you this week with some questions. So thanks everybody for watching, supporting, and just being you, being cool, and, continue to expect more. Thanks, everybody.